Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my TBR game rotating decks, where I have Uno cards help me pick my prompts to create part of my monthly TBR. So, in January, I had 2 prompts, and I do want to tell you that I did finish both of these prompts. So first off, we had Daughter's Choice. And for Daughter's Choice, she asked me to read the second in the Bungo Stray Dogs light novel series. This is by Kafka Asagiri, and Sango Harukawa does the illustrations. This one's called Osamu Dazai and the Dark Era. So I did read this. And then the other prompt I had was to finish a series. And so to do that, I read volume 2 of Manner of Death. This has art by Yukari Umemoto and original story by Samon. This one's published by Yen Press, rated mature, and I did read this. So I was able to complete both of my prompts because my last prompt was a skip, so I didn't have to read anything for that, so that's great. So moving forward with a clean slate for the month of February, I am not planning on participating in any readathons in February. Typically, I do my Flashback February Reads project, which is just to reread or read authors that I enjoyed when I was growing up. And so if I'm able to fit some of those in during the month, I will. But I don't really have any readathons that I'm planning to participate in besides completing my phase 2 TBR for the Phase Out Your TBR Readathon that's being hosted by Krys's Corner. I did complete a couple of those prompts in January, but I need to complete the rest of those prompts for February so that when we have the Phase 3 round, I can go ahead and start on those. So that's pretty much everything besides the typical Monochrome Manga Club reads, which I'll let you know what the club is reading for February at the end of the video. So let's switch you over to some gameplay right now, see what the cards have decided for me to read in the month of February, and then I will be back with you after to share with you what I have chosen for those prompts. So this is February setup for rotating decks. We are continuing to use the Super Mario Brothers deck to play with this month. As per usual, I have already shuffled the deck, so I'm going to have my daughter come over and cut the deck so that you know that I don't know what's on the top of this deck. Okay, the deck has been cut, so we're going to do 3 pulls as per usual. Let's see what we come up with. First card will be, that is a reverse, so that just means to redo. Since I've got nothing to redo, we're just going to pull again. So our first card will be, that is a blue 9. And the prompt is Heroes of Olympus. So that means that I need to read the next book in the Heroes of Olympus series, which I think I need to read book 3 now, but I'll need to refer to my Goodreads to make sure. So that is great. Continuing a series. So our next card will be, that is a yellow 8. And the prompt is, a book I bought new. So that just means what it says. I need to read something that I have bought new and not secondhand. And then our last card will be, that is a reverse. So that means that cancels this one out. We're going to redo that one. And our card is a wild. So this is a regular wild. So that just means that I can choose any of these cards here, or the colors, to pick a prompt from. And I also need to change out the deck. So I am going to choose a red prompt because it's February. So we're just going to pull off the top here and see what we got. That is new to me author. So I just need to read something from a new to me author. So we have to change out the deck. So let me go refer to my spreadsheet and see what votes were cast for my next deck. And I'll be back with the new deck shortly. Okay, we are back. So per the vote results that I am showing you on the screen right now, we have the Vintage Peanuts deck making the win on this round. So because we are changing the deck, I am going to clear off the votes. And so if you'd like to vote on the next deck that we should use the next time we get a wild, definitely go down to the description box below and make your vote in the Google form. So, Vintage Peanuts deck here. And I have already shuffled this deck. So I'm going to have my daughter come over and cut the deck for our last pull, so that you know that I don't know what's on the top of the deck. Okay, last pull. Here we go. It is a blue 2 with Peppermint Patty. So I'm just going to put this over here. And our prompt is, heard about on a knitting podcast. I am just getting back into my knitting podcasts. And so I'm going to have to go look at some of the description boxes of some of the podcasts that I watch, because it's been a while since I've heard them talk about some books. So I'm going to have to go give this a ponder, and that should be interesting. So I have 3 things that I need to read in February. So let me go find these things, and then I will be back in a little bit to share with you what I have chosen for these prompts. Okay, so that was some game. Definitely lots of twists and turns this time around. So let's recap. The first card I got was a reverse. So that just basically means when I see something like this to redo the previous prompt. But because this was the first card, I couldn't redo anything. So the next card we pulled was a blue 9. This is Toad. So blue 9 brought us Heroes of Olympus. So I have a few cards like this in my deck where it specifically tells me what series I need to read from, just to help me continue with, trying to complete all of the series that I've got ongoing. So Heroes of Olympus, I am on the 3rd book in this series. So I need to read The Mark of Athena. This one's by Rick Riordan. I will tell you that I am not enjoying the Heroes of Olympus series as much as the Percy Jackson series for some reason. I'm not quite sure what it is, but yeah, that's kind of what put this series read on pause for me, because I had intended to complete the series in 2023. I was like on a roll. I completed Percy Jackson, went into the Heroes of Olympus, I read the first one, and that stalled me out a bit. I picked up the second one, finished it, but that stalled me out, and then I never picked up the next one. So that's why we are on the 3rd one. This one is a chunker. This one comes in at 574 pages. There's a little bit of extras at the end, but the actual story for Mark of Athena is 574 pages. I'm definitely going to need the audiobook to help me out. I do believe one of the libraries that I have access to does have this available for me to borrow. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Help me out to read this one. I may even combo read this to help it go a little bit faster, but we'll just have to see what my reading looks like for the month of February. But this is definitely on schedule for the month of February. So yeah, I mean, I'm not enjoying the series, but there's a reason why I put that one on pause. But it's good that I'm finally getting that push to read the next one. So the next card we chose was a yellow 8. And for this one, it was book I bought new. So then we got the reverse, which means that previous prompt was no good. But then we picked up a wild, which means I could pick a card from any of the stacks, but I also had to change out the deck. So I decided to go with red, which brought me new to me author. And so for that prompt, I'm going to throw in one of the Monochrome Manga Club series reads for the month of February, and not a series read, but a first volume read. And this is going to be I'm in Love with the Villainess, Volume 1, art by Anoshimo, story by Inori, and character design by Hanagata. This one is published by 7 Seas, rated teen. I picked this one up when we were at the Monochrome Manga Club meeting for the last meeting, because I knew this was going to be a selection for February. So this is about a corporate worker who finds herself reborn as the protagonist of her favorite dating sim, and it's the perfect opportunity to do what she's always wanted, seduce the villainess. In her previous life, Ray had no interest in the princes of the game. She only had eyes for Claire Francois, her nemesis. Now armed with her extensive knowledge of the game and her undying love for Claire, will Ray finally be able to win over the woman of her dreams? So one of my Manga Club members actually suggested this for us to read and discuss at any time, and I decided since it's February, this would be a good time because there's a little bit of romance in there, or at least implied. And so, yeah, we will be reading this as one of our first in a series selections for February. So then we changed out the deck, and per the poll results, we got the Vintage Peanuts deck, which is nice because we haven't played with the Vintage Peanuts deck, I think, more than once. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is the deck that I showcased within the announcement of my very first TBR game video, when I was like going through all of the rules and stuff. And so, yeah. Again, reminder that if you want to vote on which deck we use the next time that a wild is pulled or we change out the deck, because I do change out the deck after every 3 games if a wild doesn't come up, you can make your vote down at the link in the description box below. So our first pull with this deck and the last pull of the game was a blue 2 with Peppermint Patty. And that brought us Heard About on a Knitting Podcast. So I used to watch a lot of knitting podcasts, and over 2023, I kind of got out of watching knitting podcasts because I kind of got out of my knitting mojo. So I am back on the knitting mojo. I have been knitting quite a bit lately, and I have been getting back to watching my knitting podcasts. So I went to Needles at the Ready podcast, which is a podcast that I have watched for a couple years now, though I only watched them a few times last year because, again, my knitting mojo was down the drain. And during one of their podcasts, they had talked about a series. I believe it was Kevin who was talking about this series, and it's the Starcross series by Rachel Higginson. The first book in this series is Reckless Magic. Turns out that I have had this particular book on my Kindle shelf since 2011, and I haven't read it. So I must have picked it up when it was available for free. And I know really nothing about it other than the tagline says Twilight meets Harry Potter. Sounds like it'll be an entertaining read for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this series is all about, finally getting a book off my Kindle shelf read. And I believe the audiobook for this one is also available on the Audible Plus catalog. So that's great. And so, yeah, really looking forward to that. But I do think this one's a bit of a chunker too. Like, I think it's over 300 pages. So, yeah, I ended up with a couple of thick ones on the TBR with my game. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to all of those reads. In addition to that, like I said, I do need to read our Monochrome Manga Club reads. So, I already let you know what one of those were. Our other first volume selection is going to be Volume 1 of Love's in Sight. Story and art by Uoyama. This one's published by Viz Rated Teen. So this one is about a delinquent, and he meets a girl with a vision impairment, and she can actually see through to the real him, and inside he's like this real softie. And so it's kind of a story about them getting to know each other and him seeing if he can turn over a new leaf and be I think, the type of guy that she sees in him. So it sounds fun. It sounds cute. The art style looks adorable. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what this one's all about. So those are our 2 first in a series reads. We are doing 2 complete series reads right now with the club. And so one of those we will actually be finishing in the month of February, and that is Fullmetal Alchemist. We're going to read volumes 25, 26, and 27, which is the last 3 volumes of the series. This one is by Hiromu Arakawa, published by Viz, rated teen. So this series follows our 2 brothers, Ed and Al, and they are trying to fix something that they did when they were kids. And while they are doing that, they uncover a conspiracy that's happening and a bunch of other things. And it's just been a really interesting story to read. I have seen the anime adaptations and really enjoyed them, but I've never read the manga. So this is my first time actually reading through the source material, and I've really enjoyed my experience. And I'm looking forward to getting to these last 3 volumes during February. So that'll be great because I'll also be completing another series that I have ongoing. That also means we will be picking another series to read at our next meeting, so that'll be fun. And then our other series we just started because we finished another series previously. So we just started Assassination Classroom in the month of January. So in February, we will be reading volumes 3 and 4. This one is by Yusei Matsui, published by Viz, and this one's rated older teen. This one is about a yellow octopus named Koro Sensei, who has actually threatened to destroy Earth if he is not killed before then. So while he is waiting his time, he asks to be the teacher of this class of kind of misfits, a few delinquents, just kids that just can't get their grades where they need to be. And so he ends up teaching them, helping them learn, while they try to take him out. It's a little bit comedic. It's a little bit heartwarming. I have seen most of the anime of this series, but I'm really enjoying my revisit of this series because it's been a few years. The first 2 volumes were rereads for me, but the rest of this series is a new read for me. So starting with these 2 volumes, it's like a new read through for me. So that'll be interesting to see. And we are reading this one on the Shonen Jump app, my daughter and I. And so if you'd like to join us and any of the Monochrome Manga Club reads, you can do that by joining our Discord down in the description box below, or commenting on my Monochrome Manga Club series First Impressions videos, where I talk about just the 2 first in a series reads. Or my daughter and I are also starting a new series on my channel. So the first episode of this should already be out by the time this video comes out. And we are doing a podcast called the Volume by Volume Podcast, where we talk about our thoughts on Assassination Classroom as we read the volumes. Every month there'll be a new podcast episode where we talk about our thoughts on the 2 volumes that we read for the club. And so if you'd like to read the 2 volumes and share your thoughts with us in those episodes, you can do that as well. I did something similar with my chapter by chapters for the Book One Cozies Club when I was running the Book One Cozies Club in the final year. And I thought it might be a nice way for people who want to read something with somebody, do a buddy read, but not have a buddy to read with, to be able to provide something similar so that they can listen to somebody else's thoughts and reply back with their thoughts and kind of have a conversation that way. I thought it might be helpful and a fun thing to do with my daughter because my daughter hasn't really featured on my channel before. So yeah, if you're interested, like I said, the first episode should be up already on my channel. I will also link it down in the description box below in case you'd like to listen. So that's pretty much all I have for today. Let me know down in the comments below what your reading plans for February are. Are you participating in any readathons? If so, let me know what they are, or let me know what projects you're working on in the month of February. I'd really love to know. And if nothing else, you'd just like to let me know that you were here. If you could leave me any color heart emoji down in the comments below. That would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.